You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Climb the ladder, kid! Make yourself famous!
A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi, and my co-host is my good friend, Jim Tucker, or as I like to call him, Ducky!
What's going on, Kyle? Always forgetting to put some respect on my name, Mr. NXT, Jim Tucker.
Well, we don't always cover NXT.
Well, we're covering it today,
and
still no shine.
I'm not going to put over the guy that I'm going up against. Trying to get the belt that I purchased back.
Yeah.
I still am holding hostage of the belt that you were gifted to you by your lovely wife, correct?
Yeah, she copped a deal on like a glitch. Like she paid like $20 for that thing.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
When was that? Well, I don't think I ever heard the story that you told
I
anyone.
didn't know that it happened. So my wife was at work, and one of her coworkers, older than me, he's a father. I've coached his kids. I know Family Guy. He knows that we got the podcast.
Is he a blue collar working man?
He is a blue collar working man. Actually a little bit white collar, office job, makes good money.
Yeah.
But he's like, hey, mister, like, Jim ever won like a championship belt? And she's like, what are you, I don't know what you're saying. What do you mean?
What is that?
She's like, he's like, yeah, grown men buy like belts that look like the championships of the, she's like at Walmart? And she's like, no, like real ones. And there was a glitch in the system, and he found it on like a Reddit thing or Twitter or something. And basically it was like a buy one, get one free. And you could put like 2 in the cart or something.
Really?
And then subtract 1, and it still gave you the discount.
And this was from WWEshop.com.
Yeah.
Like legitimate website and everything.
Oh, yeah. The mailing label on the box said WWE Shop. And so that's why it's not the most expensive one. It's not the one with the changeable plates, but it was essentially free. She paid like $30.
Dude, it's still super legit.
Yes.
Like neither of us had like
very impressed.
Yeah, neither of us had
Yeah.
legit belts until I think a year ago was about when we got our belts. You first, and then I got the NXT belt, and then we decided we might as well just put these belts, the actual physical belts, on the line for our prediction.
At least it's something fun, mix it up a little bit. And by the time I received it as a gift, they figured it out that they were got.
I kind of wish I would have known about that. I would have bought all the different kinds of belts.
I was like, the boys would have loved to hear that. I feel like everyone, T-Walk would have got one.
Yeah, Vogus would have been all over that for sure. Like,
so
I know Vogus already has the white Intercontinental belt, but that's a belt that I need to get my hands on eventually. I know they don't use it anymore, obviously, since they changed it, but that's just a classic look that I feel like I need that. I like to collect figures. I got some up on my wall and on the wine rack in my other room. But I feel like once I start to make more money and I'm living comfortably, belts.
More comfortably.
Yeah.
This is a great place.
This is perfect for one person.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is all I need right here, baby. So, like you would say, I guess I'm living the dream.
Yeah, we are. We are. It's a beautiful day in Northwest Indiana. Just what you'd expect in February, just getting slapped by cold and snow. But we have plenty to be thankful for.
We do.
Wrestling is still happening.
How about let's go back to the snow real quick, because every time I wake up, and especially this past week, I feel like we're getting a new dusting every morning.
Every time I look out my classroom as I'm teaching, it's just coming down, and that's like a big event in the classroom, right? Oh, it's snowing.
Yeah, kids like to make a big deal about that.
I can no longer learn the next 43 minutes because I'm staring at snow out the window.
Starts with the brain starts turning, 2-hour delay, maybe a cancellation.
Yeah.
I kind of miss those days. You remember those days when we were younger? Get excited when you saw the forecast coming up?
Yeah, well, and then at that point, it was like you got to turn to the TV and catch it on the scroll or check the
look for your
call
county
the
or
number
whatever.
Now it's just on Twitter and Facebook, the experience. And now when they cancel, it's a lot of schools do e-learning days on that day. So it's like we're canceled, but there is still some stuff.
I would hate that, though.
We have an e-learning day tomorrow as a result of a cancellation last week.
So they're not even going in tomorrow.
No. When we snow day, now where we're at, when we snow day, the next makeup day is an e-learning day. So that day is a full off day for us.
Okay.
So pros and cons, the day is made
So you
up.
basically already pre-recorded things or got the curriculum set up, and they just have to do it.
I just got to pop it up tomorrow. They have all weekend to do it. I told them don't email me Saturday, Sunday, or Monday.
So you're kind of off then, in a way, but you'll probably answer some questions.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, if you want to email me, you better email me on Friday during school hours because I'm checking out.
You got plans this weekend?
Kind of.
Oh, I guess it's Valentine's Day weekend. I'm sure you're doing something with
we've
the
got
wife.
Takeover. Mist and I are going to the girls basketball regional. They won
Where's
sectionals. That's at Caston High School, so it's a little bit of a drive. But,
okay.
I think we'll manage to hit a winery and brewery on the way back and just
Nothing wrong with that.
and then Monday, just a chill day. So I'm excited to have those days. I can get good sleep, get some good workouts in. Life is good. Getting a haircut Saturday.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
And then, so we won't. I'm done with baseball till Wednesday of next week. I have practice tonight with Thursday evening. So, but I get to sleep in tomorrow. So.
Are you just going straight there after this? Then is that the plan?
I have to run home and change, so
geez,
I will have
you're
enough
going all
time.
over the
But
place. I'm just. I don't want to have you rushed over here. You know. I want to make sure that you're comfortable.
Plenty of time.
We get all of our takes in.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're strictly talking NXT today, Tuck.
Yeah, a week after the AEW episode, we are back on another Wednesday night special with NXT. Do you know what NXT stands for, Kyle?
Next. I think it's just like next generation, isn't that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that's what it is. I don't think like each one has. It's not like an acronym, you know. I just
would
think
be cool.
I think it's just an NXT.
The X would make it tough.
Yeah, for sure. But before we get into everything, we got to remind the listeners that we are proudly a part of the Overtime Sports Network. And if you listen to us talk, you listen to the On the Mark Wrestling podcast every single week, or you tune in every other week, regardless, and you don't have an OTM shirt, what the hell are you doing with your life?
Yeah, honestly, you get to a point, 48 episodes in, you've got your stronghold of listeners, right?
We're here.
The numbers pop up and down, but we do have a firm grasp, a throng of avid listeners. The thing is, those listeners not necessarily popping off on the Streamlabs trying to hook us up with the merch, and then you start questioning loyalty. And it's
true.
It's at these moments like this where it's really easy to go from face to heel.
Yeah, and we have a list of people that have the shirts. We're looking at the people that are streaming our episodes every week.
Yeah,
and we know who's not buying shirts out there. We're looking at you.
Yeah, and going heel for you. Very natural.
I don't think I would be going heel. I think I just naturally am.
You're just leaning into it. But for Slim Jimmy to go from face to heel would take a lot. And I tell you what, people, I'm getting close. Okay?
Did you hear what a work in progress tweeted out of my... Oh, they didn't. I don't think they had necessarily shared, but I'm not in their Hall of Fame yet. They've brought in a lot of people to put them into their Hall of Fame, like former guests and everything. And I was once a part of the show, and I still am not in there. I cut a nice heel promo towards the end of the podcast. If you ever get time, check it out. But I think my promo work is usually strong.
Well, you are a man of the craft, too. You're not just a consumer. You ran. People forget that you ran a wrestling federation.
Yeah, don't look it up. We actually talked about this on A Work in Progress when I recorded with them on Wednesday. I said, in today's day and age, 2021, I would get canceled.
Oh, yeah.
For the things that were said on commentary. So eventually I'm going to have to find a way to delete those videos.
Yeah.
But the rumors are that all of us that used to create them are going to get together one night, watch them all in its entirety, and then just delete it off YouTube.
And blackout. There you go.
So I'll let you know if that ever happens. You might stop by.
I would love to pop in.
Yeah, that would be quite the night. But hey, if you wanted to get some merchandise, all you got to do is head to otsportsnetwork.wixsite.com/OTSN. Go ahead and click on the merchandise tab and get yourself an OTM t-shirt or OTSN t-shirt. Either or, you're supporting the brand, you're supporting us.
Yeah, I myself have to purchase a new t-shirt, but I do have a hoodie from the Overtime Sports Network, and man, those are comfy. It's one of those ones where it's like, if I put it on in the house, I know dog hair is going to get on it.
True.
So, like, I've got
3 dogs over there.
I've got to treat it right. Am I in the right seat? Am I in the right area? Because I put some respect on that hoodie, and I also put some respect on Ray's Energy. Because you gave me some samples.
I did.
And, man, sometimes in the classroom, I get to 6th, 7th period, couple hours after lunch, I need a little pick me up. Broken Arrow is not a joke.
I just tried that one Tuesday as like my morning get ready for work thing because it's usually intended for a pre-workout. That stuff. Mm-hmm. I was jittery and shaking, but that's what you kind of want out of a pre-workout.
Yeah, try it. I feel a little sketchy getting it into the water, the blender bottle, like in class.
Shaking
what
that thing.
What are you doing?
Being that guy.
I'm taking my vitamins. Not Pat McAfee's vitamins,
no.
To be clear. But the first one I had was good. Like, would purchase that in any retail environment. The Broken Arrow Lime Ice.
That's the one I had.
Is
smooth, right?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. So I have to put it in order because.
And hey, if you're going to put in that order,
cans too. It comes in powder. It comes in cans. There's a lot of different options, but Ray's is not a joke.
No, it's not. And you can go out there and you can support other energy companies. That's fine. But if you support OTSN, you support OTM, you're supporting us. If you go to repsports.com, you use the promo code OTSN at checkout. You're going to save money. We're going to make money, and it's a working relationship. We're all coming together, and we're enjoying these tasty energy drinks. Look at this one right here. I think we've mentioned this on a broadcast. It's like the Baja Blast, but it's Baja Lime. It is my favorite. I'm telling you can get a 12-pack. So good.
Okay.
So just check it out.
And you're going to serve yourself here. We get enough of these Ray's Energy orders coming in. The web address for OTSN could reduce drastically in characters.
This is true.
It might turn into OTSN.com.
I was going to say that this money is not just going to me buying beer and stuff. I have a separate spot where I put my OTSN money that we put into live shows, that we put into merchandise. No, not that. Okay, I'm not into that stuff. Right, okay. We're not like Cameron Grimes over here investing in the GameStop, Yeah. So, if you want to check out the Overtime Sports Network, though, you can follow them on the social networks, Twitter and Instagram, @_OTSN, and go support Ray's Energy, go support OTSN, and support us by getting yourself an OTM t-shirt.
Yeah, Coke products are good, too. But
yeah, we like Coke.
We just don't have a code for that.
We don't make money off that. But Ryan Vogus does. So if you want to support Ryan Vogus, get some Rain Energy. Get some Monster.
Yeah, also slaps.
We support all of that. There's one company, though. It starts with a B and ends with a G. We do not support their energy drinks.
Bung energy drinks are not good.
Bung energy? More like bum energy, am I right?
Like bung cheeks, bung hole.
Fucking roasted. All right. Let's get to some wrestling talk here after all that good stuff. NXT this week from February 10th, 2021. It started off with the Men's Dusty Cup semifinal. MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. And I know we've mentioned this on past shows, Tucky, but I still think it's very cool that these guys, these two, Wesley and Nash Carter, we got to see them wrestle this summer, and now they're on NXT every single week, and they're absolutely killing it.
Well, yeah, and I liken it to, going to a minor league game for baseball and seeing those guys going through the minor league grind before they hit the big show. And independent wrestling really is the training ground for these guys. And it was very cool to see them at Warrior Wrestling in a very well done event.
And Legado del Fantasma, they really don't have bad matches either. So when I saw that this match was happening on NXT, I got pretty excited because we've got to see a little bit of MSK so far. But it seems like Lee and Carter are already extremely comfortable in NXT, from their promo videos that they've been able to shoot to their entrance and to the way that they carry themselves on television. I don't know if there's been a tag team that has caught on this quickly to the television grind, because working the indies is completely different than working a TV show every single week.
Yeah, and you'll notice in the independent circuit that the cameras are far more reactive to the wrestlers. When you're filming for TV or, pay-per-views and things like that, you have to know where all that stuff is. And although you're in a symmetrical square, it could be easy to become, discombobulated or disjointed, but they have a great idea of where they should be when, and that's a credit to them.
Quickly becoming one of my favorite things on NXT every week. And NXT's tag division is just very strong. Like, there is a long list of names, and they're incorporating those UK guys with the Grizzled Young Veterans. Imperium are also in there as well. But I thought this match in general was a pretty good way to start off NXT. Nothing spectacular about it, but we got to see MSK continue their momentum. They got the win to advance to the finals, and a lot of people were actually surprised with this one. Tuck, what did you think of the match?
Yeah, when the show started with these two, a lot of times in television you feel like you've got your win percentage or your pick percentage is very high given the circumstances. I thought this could have went either way.
I do too.
I did lean towards MSK because of it seemingly having some sort of rockets to their back. I don't know how strong it will be, but I'm not going to say that the match under-delivered for me.
No.
But it did not over-deliver. It was just good. It was a good match.
It's a solid way to start off the show. And you can't go wrong with these two teams right here. Legado del Fantasma, though, and Santos Escobar in general are in this weird feud with Karrion Kross right now, though.
Yeah, well, for a short time, because his time is up.
Yeah, I was going to say that. That's going to be a very short feud there. I think it's just a stopgap to get us to the next point. But after that, we got to see Xia Li take on Cora Jade. Cora Jade, formerly known as Elena Black in the Indies, is another person we have seen multiple times this past summer.
Yes.
So not only is MSK from Warrior Wrestling, but we got to see Cora Jade, formerly known as Elena Black, on Black Label Pro, I believe, and Warrior Wrestling this summer.
Yeah, we paid a lot of money to see her in Black Label.
Yeah, that's true.
It was an expensive seat, but it was good.
It was the first indoor wrestling event we went to all year.
And it smelled like it.
Oh, it did. And I think we were one of the few people that didn't go to both shows because there was an afternoon one at 12, I believe, and then there was a 4 p.m. one. And you could tell we were the newbies there, and everybody was kind of settled in. But we never really got the chance to talk about the new Xia Li and Boa's new gimmick. What do you think of this repackage? It's obviously a complete 180 from what they were presenting Xia Li in the past.
Yeah, as I was driving to school this morning and thinking about the show, kind of prepping for it, it was like, how easy it could be or how powerful it can be to do a simple repackage. Now, this is not a simple. There are many layers to it, and there is complex. But you think of Xia Li of months ago, unremarkable,
easy to forget about her.
Strong. I thought she had strong kicks. I thought she had strong strikes. But there was nothing that pulled you when you add the element of story into it and this mystique and mystery.
Yeah.
I'm far more interested in this Xia Li.
No, 100%. And this is all it took was about a month of vignettes.
Yeah.
When they took her off TV for a little bit. And sometimes that's all you really need to do. Because like you said, she had the wrestling ability. She had the kicks. She was strong in the ring.
I think she's putting in the work in the gym, too.
Oh, she's cut.
Her upper hat, like her arms are kind of starting to get chiseled.
And you could tell they like her. And they're presenting her in a very strong way. She got this win in very easy fashion. But nothing special about it. It was just another squash win for Xia Li. But after the match, Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter would come out, basically just asking Tian Sha, which I didn't know she had a name, or he. Is it a he or she that sits in the chair after?
I thought it was a he.
Tian Sha?
Yeah.
I looked that up. They have a name. So
got it.
There's that. But and then they basically were just asking what did they do with Xia Li because she's got, this weird new personality and Boa's with her. I don't know where they go after this because you have Io Shirai, Toni Storm, Mercedes in their title feud right now, and I don't think that's the end of that feud when we get that title match.
Right.
So I guess Xia Li will continue to squash people until then, right?
Yeah. Bide your time, but don't ruin it. Yeah.
We're repeating ourselves, but that women's division is just too good. You could pick off maybe like 5 people from the NXT women's division and give them the AEW. That's how strong it is. Like the bottom 5 on NXT would shine in AEW.
And then both women's divisions would be very solid.
100%. Yes. But the AEW is still nowhere close to them. But speaking of the women's division, we got a semifinals match for the Dusty Classic on the women's side of things as Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon would face off against The Way, which is Indy Hartwell. Sorry, there we go. A lot of names going on here. And Candice LeRae. What did you think of the match? I'll let you go first here.
I thought it was fine. The thing that I pull from in a match like this, I'm nervous for Candice LeRae.
Why is that?
I don't think she's ever going to be a superstar. I think she's going to be the Swiss Army knife in NXT until the day she dies.
Okay.
I could very well see that happening. She's so good with so many wrestlers that I don't know. You know, she's like the older quarterback, very capable still, that can do a lot for many people. But in regards to the match, it's fine.
It's funny you brought up Candice, because that was my biggest takeaway from it, because I really did enjoy it because of Candice LeRae. Mm-hmm. And going off of your point kind of too, she constantly is just throwing caution to the wind and throwing her body out there and doing all these high, crazy spots that, let's be honest, majority of the male roster can't even do what she's doing in the ring. Mm-hmm. But where has that gotten her to this point is where I think you're coming from, right?
Yeah. And it's one thing for it to be her choice to stay in NXT, if that is the case. But she's just in a tough spot, because where you put her up to the main roster, where does she fit?
She probably gets lost in the shuffle there, too.
And that's the tough component about it, but I just think she's very talented, and I think she makes whoever's in the ring with her better. So I did want to acknowledge that.
There could be one knock, though, on NXT. Since they don't have many pay-per-views, they don't really have many title opportunities for people.
Yeah.
So when they do get to pay-per-views, there also seems to be a lot of retaining of the championships. Because when they find someone they like, they kind of hold on to that champion for a while.
Yep.
I mean, look at Io Shirai. She's had the belt for a good amount of time. Shayna Baszler had it forever. Asuka had it for years. Mm-hmm. So Candice LeRae is someone who you probably put in any other company. She's the women's champion, no doubt. She's just stuck in the middle. She outworks everybody, you can tell, because in my personal opinion, she's the one that shined in this match, and they weren't even the ones that won.
Right.
They were the losers of the match. Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, they get the win. They're the newer team when the way is kind of established. But I do get it from the standpoint of Shotzi and Ember, they kind of are working. It seems to be working across the television screen.
I like it. I do. I like the two of them. I like how much shine they've given Shotzi over the last year, honestly. She's just such a dynamic personality and different, you know. At first, I thought the Tank was gimmicky, but
we both kind of thought it was weird.
And now you get it. Now that's her.
It kind of reminded me of Orange Cassidy. At first, I didn't get them and the best friends.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what Shotzi. The more they showcased her and let her just do her own thing, it made sense.
Yeah,
and it makes sense that Ember Moon's with her too. So they got the win. They will face off against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez this Sunday. That match I'm looking forward to very much, Tuck.
Yeah, I think it's got match of the night potential. I feel like it might be number 2 for me, but good matchup for sure.
If you look up and down that card, which we are going to, that's what we're spending the second half of the show, is looking at the card and predicting it. I know we say this all the time too, but NXT, that card is always strong. Mm-hmm. Look up and down that card. Where is there a weak match?
Right.
Can't name one. The weakest one might be Kushida versus Gargano, but it also could steal the show at the same time. Yeah. And that's what's crazy to think about. And speaking of Kushida, he faced off against Austin Theory. The match actually didn't end. It ended in a DQ because of Gargano. And then Austin Theory tried to hide under the ring. He tried to get away from Kushida, but apparently your boy Dexter Lumis, he likes to hang out underneath the ring. He was down there.
That doesn't surprise me. That seems like a place where he would mingle. But yeah, good to see him back again.
You think he was hanging out with Hornswoggle down there? Because we know he hangs out.
Yeah, for sure. The Fiend was probably chilling down there.
Forgot about him. Kane.
Wrong ring, honestly.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah, this was the thing. It happened. There was nothing much to it. It was just prolonging this Kushida and Gargano storyline. But recently, Kushida has looked pretty unstoppable. Like, every single matchup that he's in, he seems to be getting the win, getting the shine. And the only thing that I question going into this title match, though, is that they also keep showing Dexter Lumis.
Yeah.
So what does that mean for Kushida?
Right.
I just don't know. I'm surprised Lumis isn't in that match, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. We're in that spot where a lot of spoons in the pot, but it doesn't seem to make sense right yet.
No, and maybe Sunday there'll be some justification on what's
also,
going on.
I've never heard the term spoons in the pot. I meant irons in the fire.
Yeah,
just to clarify.
I honestly haven't heard of either of those. So spoons in the pot, irons in the fire.
If someone's overtaxed, they got a lot of irons in the fire. If someone has too many spoons in the pot,
I like spoons in the pot better. That's a T-shirt idea right there. That's a new shirt hitting the market right there. One of these days, I'm going to start uploading just random T-shirts.
There we go.
I said on Family Divided that would anybody buy a hashtag Fire T-Walk shirt, and nobody responded. So
I mean, I don't know how we haven't had one yet.
I don't know who wouldn't buy that knows
Right.
T-Walk.
T-Walk would probably still buy one.
Oh, he even said he would.
Support. It's weird.
It's weird. He's behind the movement, but he's the one at risk. So after that, we got to see the return of Cameron Grimes.
We're back, baby.
I didn't know that was going to be him pulling up in a Lambo. What the hell's that man doing driving a Lamborghini?
Just stunting, you know.
Yeah, he took a couple, it seemed like months off of NXT, and apparently he invested in the GameStop because he pulled up in that Lambo with a bunch of money, and he basically just said he's going to the moon.
Yeah.
That's it. Cameron Grimes is here.
Yep. That's all I got. I mean, for now.
I like this. Even though it's not really much different than his character from months ago, I still think this is a little bit more entertaining. It's another side of Cameron Grimes that's fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's another one of those guys, too. At the beginning, I was like, I don't know about this guy. But, hey, you keep giving people TV time, they'll grow on you.
Yeah, and he's kind of one of those blue-collar working men.
No, that's not where I was going to go with that.
Okay, I thought...
I just try to avoid the
the
blue-collar
vibes.
working man, even though I want that to be your text tone.
When
Just think of that every time you're in class, blue-collar working man.
Yep. That's what I am. I'm out in Couts. I'm out in the the country. Just cutting it up with middle schoolers. I'm a blue-collar working man.
I guess so. I guess we both are.
Yes.
You think about it, I'm just slinging alcohol out of trucks and putting them on the shelf. That's pretty blue-collar right there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to put the alcohol on the shelves for all you alcoholics out there. But the final thing on NXT this week was the men's Dusty Classic semifinal match between Timothy Thatcher and Tommaso Ciampa taking on the grizzled young veterans. And Tucky, this for me was the match of the night, and
Absolutely.
I think a tag team masterpiece in its own.
Yeah, this is another one of those, and credit to the Dusty Cup, I guess. It's one of those matchups that you're not really that surprised if either team wins. I figured the grizzled young veterans were going to win, being a tag team, but man, when I look at the grizzled young veterans more and more, I draw parallels to FTR.
God damn it. I didn't even put that on the outline either.
I will not apologize.
So when I was watching it, that's the first thing that came into my mind, and it's going to go off this point too, and I tweeted it out when I was watching NXT as well, but obviously you do notice that. I was going to ask you if you noticed this, but the little details that the grizzled young veterans bring to a match are just perfect, and it's a nice touch that you don't get to see in every tag team wrestling match. Like, for example, when Gibson told Drake to run to the corner when he was getting Irish whipped into the turnbuckle to prevent him hitting the turnbuckle, I thought that was a genius thing that you just don't see at all in tag team wrestling match, especially and I know this might come off as bashing the Young Bucks, but they're great. You're never going to see that psychology in a Young Bucks match. No,
just because the style's just so different, and that's okay. But the thing that the tough part about it is like true wrestling fans, like purists, will appreciate it, but then you also get nervous that the grizzled young veterans are going to get lost in the shuffle. But I thought that match was great.
Oh, yeah. It was, like I said, definitely the match of the night. And the grizzled young veterans, we haven't got to see a lot of because we don't watch NXT UK. But I have been paying more and more attention to their matches. Because I really, before I make an opinion on people, I like to see their body of work.
Yeah.
And it seems like the more they put them on main NXT television, you can see why everybody was hyping them up when they were in the UK. Right. And they were getting a lot of heat, too. I know Zach Gibson, the UK fans did some weird things where they said, take your shoes off if you hate Gibson, and everybody would have a shoe in the air, and they'd just be chanting that. And that's what I miss about crowds, especially UK. They just do weird things like that. But that comparison that you had to FTR is just identical to me. That's the first thought. And that's how the Revival was when they were in NXT, when they had matches with Authors and Pain. And now I feel like they have this new influx of tag teams that could have the matches that we saw with like DIY, Authors of Pain, the Revival, all these great tag teams. And the list goes on and on here. And the Grizzly Young Veterans got to be a part of that mix, right?
Yeah, and it sets up an FTR Young Bucks type match for TakeOver with MSK being young,
like
high
comparison.
flyer, athletic, and we'll see which direction NXT chooses to take it.
Yeah, and at first with Thatcher and Ciampa, I thought it was weird how they just randomly were put together after the fight pit to get into this, but in the small body of work that we've got with the two, it makes sense, kind
I like
of.
Thatcher a little bit more, honestly.
I think it helps when you have Ciampa by your side. But
Right.
It's just two badass dudes going at it together. And they have that mutual respect of all the matches that they've had and being in the fight pit, yada, yada, yada. Obviously, it wasn't enough to win. The Grizzled Young Veterans got the clean win. Clean, by the way.
Yeah.
I was surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
Thought there'd be some shenanigans going on with their finisher, the Ticket to Mayhem, and they will face MSK in the finals of the Dusty Classic Tournament. We might as well just get right to it. NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day predictions happening this Sunday. Jim Tucker is your NXT OTM pay-per-view champion.
Because he's a blue-collar working man.
It's about time you defended your title. It seems like we haven't had a prediction show in like 3 months.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I know other shows that defended on, like New Year's Evil.
Oh, yeah?
Because they have the cojones to do that.
Oh,
but
that's cool.
I guess our NXT champion doesn't care about their fans. Thoughts about the fans talking about you like that?
Because I care about my fans, I'm going to risk it for meaningful pay-per-view events.
And here he goes. He's going to be with these lazy predictions, and he's going to try to retain his title here, people. Just throwing that out there now.
Do you want to go first for every pick or no?
No, you get to go first. You're the champ.
Not for every pick.
Well, no. For the first one, though.
Yeah.
The Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic Finals. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are taking on Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. The winners obviously win the cup, and they get a future title shot against the Women's Tag Team Champions Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Does that affect your pick at all?
No, that does not affect my pick at all.
What are we thinking here?
Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart are going to win. And I think it's just to give Raquel Gonzalez a shot to go singles push. That's basically my only reason. Kind of stinks because Dakota Kai is awesome. But I think Ember Moon has that parallel with Nia Jax as well in that matchup where they were close and tight and worked together. So a little bit of an interesting dynamic. Those two feel between Shotzi and Ember, they feel established and can work together, where I think Raquel being part of a pair is only holding her back at the moment. So that's why I'm going with Ember Moon and Shotzi.
The only thing that makes me hesitate, though, is I feel like Dakota Kai and Raquel are the more established team. Like, they've been showcased more as a unit together. And if this is the very first Dusty Women's Classic, maybe you would have a real team win it at first. But WWE doesn't really care much about the women's tag division.
Or random tag teams winning things.
And that's why I think a random tag team of two individual stars is going to win this match. I'm in agreement with you. I think Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon are going to win this one. I think you need a feel-good moment here for your very first winners. I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, people that are listening, that Finn Balor and Samoa Joe won the very first men's Dusty Cup, and they were just a random pairing too, and I believe they were both working as baby faces when they won. So I feel like it's going to be just like that scenario here for the very first winner. Shotzi Blackheart been showcased a lot on NXT television lately, and you can't go wrong with Ember Moon, former NXT Women's Champion. So my pick as well will be Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon to win the Women's Dusty Classic. So we're going to move to the Men's Dusty Classic, which is Team MSK, which is Wesley and Nash Carter, taking on the Grizzled Young Veterans, James Drake and Zach Gibson. This kind of worries me that I have to go first here because I feel like you might agree with me here, and then I don't know where I'm going to go after that. But the winners receive the trophy and a future title shot against the NXT Tag Team Champions, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. I think MSK winning here would be big for them. I'm not sure if that's the direction they're going to go because that's really hot booking right out of the gate. You win every single matchup, and then I guess them winning and facing off against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch would make sense because MSK is a babyface team and Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch are the heels. But this is the second year in a row Grizzled Young Veterans have been in the finals. They didn't win it last year. I don't think they're going to lose 2 straight Dusty Classics. I just don't think that's something they want to do. I feel like they're going to pull the trigger here on the Grizzled Young Veterans, establish them as a team in the United States because we already knew what they did in UK. They get the win here. I think they win the Men's Dusty Rhodes Classic.
I agree. And I think it's going to be a great match. I think MSK is going to look really strong. I think Grizzled Young Veterans are going to have to pull something out at the end. But that is also where I was leaning. Regardless of if I picked MSK, would I not look like a coward in this position? Grizzled Young Veterans.
Well, I do want to say this. I just want to make sure if we do end up picking the same, can I go back and change one of these?
I will allow it.
Okay.
Is this the one you would pick?
It might be. I don't know. I think both the Dusty Classic finals can go either way. I think those are the toughest matches out of those for sure. The next one, though, the NXT Women's Championship, Toni Storm taking on Mercedes Martinez, facing off against Io Shirai, the champion. Do I get to go? I get to go first, or is it? No, this is you. This is all you.
This is me. I like the booking.
We don't get to see many triple threats for titles.
No,
I feel like, which is nice that we're getting one here.
Right, I agree. Makes Io's job eminently harder to retain, but I do think she does retain. I go with Io Shirai. I don't see the other two hot enough to become the champion at this point.
If you were to pick one of the other two, though, who would you pick?
I would pick Toni Storm because
Okay.
I just think she's freaking nails. I love.
She also beat. There's history there with Io Shirai in the Mae Young Classic. She beat Io Shirai in the finals.
She's
There's
tough.
a little nugget.
I like her, but I don't see it.
I think the reason they made this a triple threat was to just keep the title on Io Shirai a little longer. And I think there's a good chance that Io Shirai could lose the weekend of WrestleMania because we know they always do a takeover the day before WrestleMania, which they would have to be on a Friday this year. So that would be pretty cool to watch for sure. But I do think Io Shirai is going to retain her title. I did for a second think about Toni Storm, just the way that she's been booked ever since returning. I mean, it's been spectacular. And you could say the same thing about Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah.
They both probably could win the belt, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I feel like the reason this is a triple threat, the reason this is happening now, is for Io Shirai to retain. So.
Yep.
Once again, I'm in agreement with you, and I'm kind of worried with these last two matches because I also feel like we're on the same page for these ones. The North American Championship match between Johnny Gargano, the champion, and Kushida. A little fun nugget here is that I believe in every first title defense after winning the North American title, Johnny Gargano has lost.
Yeah.
So he's never successfully won the belt after just winning. So I've been flipping between this one a lot. I've really been thinking about it. But the Dexter Lumis thing's really throwing me for a loop here. And I feel like he's going to be involved somewhat, whether he's ringside or underneath the ring, or maybe he's the reason Johnny loses.
Yeah.
Maybe he helps Kushida win, or maybe he just goes after Austin Theory. It could be a matchup that I flip after hearing your pick. But for now, I'm going to say Johnny Gargano finds a way. Get it? Finds a way.
Yeah, that's good.
To retain his North American Championship. Tuck, what do you think?
Johnny Gargano retains.
I'm going to have to flip because I know you're not picking Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
Here's my thing. I know the takeover will be great. I don't feel like the build-up to this specific takeover has been red hot. So, like, going into with expectations of title changes and things like that just doesn't do it. And that could be the potion to...
I was just going to say that. What if that triggers them to flip all the titles? Yep.
Right. We could go for 5, you know?
We could.
And it wouldn't be that crazy, but, yeah, I just don't see him flipping that title specifically, especially with Austin Theory in his corner.
I'm switching.
Okay.
I'm going with a new North American champion in Kushida. This is going to be the match that I hang my hat on. I, at first, was going to go back and change my men's winners to MSK. So if that actually happens, I'm going to be very angry. But my final answer, my final pick, just because I want to win the NXT championship, and I think this matchup is a 50-50 toss-up, I'm going to go with Kushida to be the new North American champion. I had to. I mean, do you blame me? Out of all the matches, wouldn't this be the one?
I think it'll be a good one. It's got Johnny Gargano in it, which autocorrects to garbanzo every time I type it in, so we got that
like
going for it too.
Or something?
Yeah, bean.
Garbanzo
beans.
Garbanzo beans.
Yeah. So there's that.
What was I thinking of? What's the cheese that starts like that?
Gorgonzola. Gorgonzola. That is a cheese.
Okay.
Confirmed. Yeah.
All right, good job. What's your favorite cheese?
Munster.
Ooh.
No, I like.
Mine's mozzarella because I don't like many cheeses and I like pizza. So.
Yeah. You ever had brick cheese?
What's brick cheese?
It's just like a common cheese you can get at a deli. Very salty. I love it. If
it's kind of like Parmesan,
it's like
maybe.
It's a white cheese. You get it in slices. Brick cheese, slept on.
Okay, I guess I'll have to look into some brick cheese. I only mess with mozzarella and Parmesan.
Can I have some brick cheese? Excuse me, sir. Did you say dick cheese?
Yo, let me get a brick of that cheese, bro.
Hey, let me get some of that.
Let me get some of that dick cheese right there. So I'm flopping here. I'm going with Kushida.
Speaking of dick cheese, Kyle is flopping.
Yeah, correctamundo. Yeah, I'm going with Kushida. You're going with Johnny Gargano, which then leads us to the main event of Vengeance Day, the NXT Championship match between Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. This matchup seems obvious, but a lot of people, and I don't know why, but I've done my research, are going with Pete Dunne to win in this one.
Yeah.
Which I don't see it happening, personally. And is this you going first here? Is it?
I am going first. I have Balor typed in for both of us already. And I think with Edge popping up, with some other storylines that could be, I think Balor's the more compelling opponent for others at this current time. Pete Dunne has not necessarily ran roughshod in this current stretch to make him a viable threat against many others. Finn Balor will always carry that with him. So that's why I've chosen Finn to retain. And this could be one of those good retentions to build Balor's resume, which I feel like we're still kind of searching for.
I think we're waiting for Karrion Kross.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why I was really going to confidently pick Finn Balor, because I think Karrion Kross eventually is going to beat Finn Balor and get his title back. And then we can move on maybe from Finn Balor and NXT, because I think it would be the time, as we talked 2 weeks ago, to maybe pull him back up to the main roster, because he served his purpose in his resurfacing in NXT. But at least when you get a matchup with Pete Dunne, it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah.
Like every Pete Dunne matchup, and we've seen even a couple in person, awesome to watch.
All of them.
And this one probably going to be great. But I liked your point of, in general, saying that this takeover, compared to a lot of the past ones, there's not the same hype.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is. And we kind of were talking about it, too, with AEW in general the last couple weeks, that wrestling is just kind of in a weird spot right now. Do you think that has to do with the fact that we now are kind of a year into this whole no fans thing, and that it's kind of the environment's just getting old, or what is it right now? Or maybe we're just crazy and we're being Debbie Downers because it's the winter and we're getting all this snow.
Well, I think the weather outside does have something to do with it. We're a year in, so I don't feel like it's the pandemic is kind of I just book it better.
Mikey Wilson,
bring it. Yeah, honestly, that's my thought. SmackDown's still entertaining.
Yeah, and I never get to watch that live, though. Like, I love watching wrestling
watch it
live.
Yeah.
What's the one show do you even watch every show, like one show live every week?
SmackDown is actually the most common one.
Really?
I do watch live because my week has ended. I don't have to wake up early
usually,
the next
right?
day. Yeah. The routine with Raw is that I will watch until 8:30, and then I watch the rest the next day.
That's fair.
Usually I watch most of one of the Wednesday shows the night of, and then I pick the other one up over the next 2 days en route to SmackDown.
Yeah.
So,
You know what's going to suck, and I forgot about this past summer, is when Wiffle Ball comes back and it's on Wednesdays, and I have to watch all those shows on replay. I'm a big watch things live kind of guy, whether it's sports or wrestling. So I watch Raw late. I tune in late because of OTSN Happy Hour.
Yeah.
But eventually I catch up because it's only a half hour that I miss. I always try to make one Wednesday show live, whether that be NXT or AEW. And then SmackDown on Fridays, I'm usually got my own live show going on with OTSN or just some other plans, so it's hard to watch live. But I will tell you this, and you might be with me, watching Vengeance Day live on Sunday?
I will be, yes.
We'll be live tweeting it, so make sure you follow Jim Tucker at JimTuck89, and you can follow me on Twitter at 2SweetKyle. Too sweet! And Tucky, that's all I really got for this NXT loaded special episode of OTM.
Make sure you follow at Pod on the Mark and give the Overtime Sports Network your due patronage as well. On Facebook especially, Mikey Wilson's always doing something. I just like to shout him out. But interesting. Excited to see the NXT show we've got coming up here in a few days. And interested to talk about it the following week to see if there was a ton of retention. If I got to bring the belt over.
I'm going to have to do some research on when you won that. Do you remember what pay-per-view it was?
You're going to have to do a little scroll back on the Twitter timeline, I guess.
Yeah, we should be keeping track of these reigns. I feel like I just recently held that on my own at TLC.
Yeah, maybe.
That sounds right, doesn't it?
I've got room in a spreadsheet somewhere for it. We're just going to have to track it down, so...
One last thing before we go.
Sure.
I'm a big supporter of Barstool Sports. Have you ever checked out the podcast Wrestling by Brandon Walker?
No, that's the one that I have to get to and start queuing it up. That it might be my first listen tomorrow at the gym. So.
I stopped listening to Busted Open just because they threw in a lot of random topics in there that I couldn't just get invested into.
Yeah.
And there's just so many episodes. But Wrestling, he comes out with an episode every single week, and he's already had Bianca Belair on this show. He's going to be on the pre-show of NXT TakeOver Vengeance, Brandon Walker is, which is pretty crazy to think about because he's only on episode 13. He had Drew McIntyre on the show as well, so that's a podcast.
Well, you got clout like that. Your guest can flex a little.
But hey, if Brandon Walker wants to add us onto the team, we'll be full members of Wrestling Podcast. We can make this a 3-man show.
Let's go. Where is it, New York?
No, we're not going to New York, but we can be Barstool Chicago. We can just locate us over there. We'll go. That's not far.
Yeah. They can do, yeah. I mean,
even though we're OTM, we're still free agents.
Yeah.
That means,
let's talk.
That means OTSI would be, see ya.
Once again, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling
Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark Podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark. Pod on the Mark.